this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Stuff You Should Know is brought to you by Grainger. Grainger knows that if you're an HVAC technician and a call comes in, you need a partner that helps you find the right product, fast and hassle-free. And you know that when the first problem of the day is a clanking blower motor, there's no need to break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product details, you can be confident that soon you'll have everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Work can be a little weird. Cringy training seminars, coworkers who won't stop talking about their plant, forgetting the mute button at an inopportune moment. We have to deal with a lot on any given workday. Sometimes it can feel hard to thrive and move forward in your career. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in. LinkedIn helps you get ideas and insights from experts in your field, connect with people professionally, grow your network, and access tools designed to help you find the right fit for your next role. Whether you're just getting started, figuring out your next move, or looking to accelerate your career, LinkedIn is built to support you at every stage, because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
This episode of Stuff You Should Know is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a landing page, a beautiful gallery, a professional blog, or an online store, it's all possible with a Squarespace website. And right now, listeners to Stuff You Should Know can start a free trial today. Just go to squarespace.com and enter the offer code STUFF, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace. Set your website apart.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark. There's Charles W. Chuck Bryan over there. And we've got guest producer Noel in the house.
Noel.
Throw in a sound effect, Noel. Way to go.
That was good.
Yeah. I'm assuming he'll do that in post, right?
Yeah, or maybe the sound effect is silence.
Oh, okay.
That's a lack of sound effect.
We'll find out.
It's like when you're a little kid and you'd have just a blank canvas. You'd be like, look, I did a picture of a snowman in a snowstorm.
I never did that.
Yeah, it's smarty.
Yeah.
Smart aleck.
Little smart aleck kid gets what's coming to him. You know? So, Chuck.
Yep.
Do you remember we did a trivia night like years ago?
Yes.
On the roof of Five Seasons Brewery.
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember.
Hodgman was there. Our buddy Joe Randazzo.
Yeah.
Dave Willis was on our all-star team.
Sure.
Dave was just looking around like, what's going on?
Yeah, who are you guys?
Yeah.
Why do they care about you?
My publicist said I should come to this. That was a fun night.
It was.
There's a dude there, and he had cerebral palsy. His name was Kyle Pease.
I remember him.
You remember Kyle?
Yep.
K. Peasy is what he goes by.
Uh-huh.
And again, this was, maybe like 4 years ago? Maybe six?
Like 6.
Okay. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle was like, you guys should totally do one on cerebral palsy. And we were like, we totally should. And we didn't. Well, I ran into Kyle again when Yumi and I were going to visit Laurel and Braden's baby at the hospital, because he volunteers at Piedmont Hospital.
Ah, it's all coming together.
Yes. And I was like, you look really familiar. And he's like, so do you. And I remembered we'd never done one on cerebral palsy, even though we totally said we would. So I was like,
did he guilt you on the spot?
He was like, yeah. He didn't even say anything. He just looked at me and shook his head a little. No, he was super cool about it. He's a cool cat, actually. He's a cool guy. Kyle actually does Ironman competitions with his brother.
Oh, wow.
Who like wheels him along in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
They did the New York Marathon.
Wow.
And one of the wheels came off of Kyle's wheelchair.
Literally.
And, like the wheel came off.
The wheels came off?
Right. So his brother is like just kind of like helping move along, I think holding up the axle.
Yeah.
And some other people said, you know what? We don't need to make time. We'll just help with this. So like a bunch of like strangers helped get Kyle across the finish line with his brother.
That would have been me. I would have been like, why am I running this thing anyway?
Exactly.
I'll just be a good guy.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And you see that, you saw it recently in the Olympics when athletes will forego their own race to help another.
Yeah.
That stuff just slays me.
Or if they're qualifying in like the first 3 or the first 5 across the finish line, go on to the next race, they'll slow up and like finish at the same time.
Yeah. Except the one jerk who like noses out in front.
Right. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to see that kind of spirit, right?
Yeah, man.
So anyway, Kyle Pease, he's got his own foundation. I think it's kylepease.org or Kyle Pease Foundation. Probably should have looked it up. But this one's for Kyle.
Yeah, and you can Google that if you want to look into his foundation more.
Yeah. So we're talking cerebral palsy, right?
Yes.
And it's something that, like, I've always known about. I've known people with cerebral palsy. Like, it's just something you know about, but I had no idea what was going on with the condition.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I just assumed it was one specific thing. But it turns out that cerebral palsy is actually basically an umbrella term for a bunch of different conditions that stem from a bunch of different origins, I guess.
Yeah, causes.
Causes. That was the word I was looking for.
It's not a disease.
Right.
And the cause is always a brain injury of some kind.
That affects your movement.
Yeah, but there can be all kinds of ways, and we're going to get into all that, obviously.
And actually, you can develop cerebral palsy from a disease, but like you said, cerebral palsy
True.
itself is not a disease.
Right. A few just off the cuff, not off the cuff, but at the outset.
Cause.
Stats. About I was going to say off, just starting out with some stats instead of finishing up.
Right.
But off the cuff makes it sound like I'm making this up.
Right. It does.
It's not true. About 8,000 children a year are born with it every year.
Yeah, I saw like 1 in 300.
Yeah, and I got this from a Canadian site, so that's good.
Yeah, that's legit.
They say it's the most common childhood physical disability, affecting about 2.5 of every 1,000 live term births, and 22 out of every 1,000 live premature births. And it affects more boys than girls.
Yeah, I saw premature births in particular have a higher incidence of cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was the cerebral palsy caused premature births, but then I read it a little more in depth and saw that actually premature births is a risk factor for developing cerebral palsy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
But with that broadly defined, you want to jump back into a little bit of history?
Yeah, let's go back, way back to
Yeah.
the 19th century.
Yeah, way back to 1853, in fact, with Dr. John Little.
Charles Dickens is hard at work
Yeah.
in the same country as Dr. Little.
Dr. Little, this guy was a good dude. He was, as a kid, he was afflicted with a lot of illnesses, and he basically grew up to say, like, you know what, that was no fun.
That was BS.
And so what I'm going to do is dedicate my life to discovering the causes of some of these things.
Right.
Although he didn't have cerebral palsy, he started working in the 1830s. And his first kind of, I guess the first way that he was actually on the right track was he started doing lectures on birth injuries, which we'll find out has, birth injury can be a way that you can get cerebral palsy.
Right.
So that's where he was on the right track at first.
But to him, birth injury was the only way to get cerebral palsy. And the only way that you could get cerebral palsy from a birth injury was if you were asphyxiated while you were being born.
Correct. Which happened and happens.
Right.
So he was right.
Right. But it turns
Half
out
right.
that that was too narrow of an umbrella that he came up with.
Yeah, and he did these lectures, these really influential lectures that he later published called On the Nature and Treatment of the Deformities of the Human Frame. And it wasn't called cerebral palsy at the time, though. In fact, they called it Little's disease.
He was like, oh.
Yeah,
Shucks. Okay.
A lot of the diseases originally had the doctor's name, and some of them kept those.
Yeah.
Like
Capgras syndrome. Remember that one?
Yeah. Was that named after
Arnold Capgras.
Did you just make that up?
I made up the first name.
Oh, okay. But it was the name?
Sure.
And Morgellons.
Morgellons? Which way do you say it? You just confused me.
See, you can't even remember now.
Morgellon sounds right. But you were saying it because you were poking fun at me, I think.
Perhaps. You don't even remember now.
I think I do. I'll just have to go back and listen to the episode because it's documented.
1887 is when the term was actually coined by Sir William Osler, who wrote Cerebral Palsies of the Children. It was a book. And he used a lot of Little's work, or built upon Little's work, and finally gave it, that lasting name.
Yeah.
but he wasn't the only one. There was a very famous Austrian doctor.
Freud.
Yeah.
Freud got it right. Freud had some theories that that cerebral palsy could be developed or could be the result of something that happened during before birth.
Yeah,
in the
pregnancy,
womb.
yeah.
Yeah, or during development. That's what I was looking for. And everyone's like, Freud, go back to your cigars and your mother fixation and all that.
Yeah.
Just leave this to us, okay?
Including Little. Like, they got a little contentious at times.
Yeah. A lot contentious.
Yeah, for two doctors, that is.
Yeah. And Freud said, you take the cigar and you stick it where the sun don't shine.
Maybe so.
So it turns out Freud was right that, but everyone just kind of ignored him until like 1980. The first study that really looked at cerebral palsy and the development of cerebral palsy from a birth injury, an injury that occurred during birth. So what would that be? Perinatal? Isn't that during birth? Neonatal's right after birth. Perinatal's during, right? So a perinatal injury, developing cerebral palsy. Everyone thought it was 100% of the cause. It turns out it's like 10% or less, something like 5 to 10% of births or of cases of cerebral palsy come from being injured while you're being born.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of ways you can be injured. Some can happen naturally, like if you come out breech.
Sure.
If you get stuck in the birth canal too long.
Yep.
If the doctor is a little too heavy-handed with the forceps, which is like a horrific thing that can happen.
Sure.
You can also have a prolapsed umbilical cord where it comes out before the baby. You can have the umbilical cord wrap around your neck. And any one of these things can cut off the blood supply to your brain or the oxygen supply to your brain, which are effectively one and the same. And either way, your little tiny brain is like, oh, well, this region's going down because I was just asphyxiated for a little while.
Yeah. So his work was later, verified after his death. When did Freud die? I know it wasn't 1980.
The 30s.
That'd be pretty cool.
The
actually.
30s.
See Freud in a members only jacket.
Yeah. I could see him really living it up in the disco era.
So he would have been at Studio 54.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A couple of other folks who made a name for themselves by doing a lot of great work. Leonard and Isabel Goldenson. Their daughter had cerebral palsy, and they basically dedicated their life to it for that reason, to learn more about it. Mm. And sadly, she passed away at the age of 29, and they co-founded the United Cerebral Palsy Association in 1950, and they are a really big organization now.
Yeah.
It says here the 5th largest health agency in the United States.
Yeah. And
then in I don't remember the year, but there were some very famous books written by a woman named Marie Kalilia. Is that how we're going to say it?
I would have said Kilauea, but...
Kilauea?
If you want to go Hawaiian.
Gotcha. She wrote a couple of very famous books on the bestseller list. One called Karen and one called With Love from Karen, that really captured the attention of the United States at large. And they were about her daughter's struggle with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And Karen, is still alive today.
Is she?
Yeah, she's in her 70s and is very private, and I think works as a secretary at a monastery or something.
That is extremely private.
Something like that.
You want to keep to yourself, not have to put up with any chit-chat at work? That is where you can get a job.
Probably. Very nice, secluded existence.
Right. So those I guess you'd call them civilians, non-doctors, help to really kind of expand public awareness of cerebral palsy, is the impression I have, right?
Yeah, and those books especially.
Nice.
Should we take a break?
Let's take a break, man.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll get into some of the causes right after this.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, we want to talk to you about The Big Bang Theory. That's a show that became one of the most defining sitcom of its era and really built a fan base around its memorable characters and unique group dynamic.
That's right, which is why we think you'll enjoy the official Big Bang Theory podcast. It's back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Host Jessica Radloff sits down with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, who plays Raj, Mayim Bialik, who plays Amy, and Kevin Sussman, who plays Stuart.
That's right. You're going to learn all about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines.
Yeah, there's cast reflections years after the series aired and expanded content around famous episodes and storylines. It is exactly what you're looking for if you're a fan of the Big Bang Theory. The season is on video, so watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max, or listen wherever you get your podcasts, and stream episodes of the Big Bang Theory on HBO Max.
All right, before we broke, you said we were talking about Freud and his, we were talking about childbirth injuries.
Yeah.
Being actually accounting for a fairly small amount, like 5 to 10%.
But they used to think, because of Dr. John Little, that it was like that was the cause of cerebral palsy.
Right.
Yeah.
70 to 80% of the time, Freud was right.
Yeah, and you would think also that doctors, especially pediatric doctors,
Sure.
the ones who are doing the deliveries, would be like, yeah, Freud's right. It's definitely not birth injury.
Like the obstetrician
It's
society.
not our fault.
Like,
right, yeah. They'd be like, it's something else that's
Yeah.
happening during pregnancy. It's not us.
Interesting.
But they didn't. They
you
just
know of.
took it.
You never know.
Well, at the very least, it didn't happen. And if you look up cerebral palsy caused by doctor error, like the first 8 pages of Google are nothing but articles on law firm sites.
Oh, sure.
Like every single one.
Yeah.
Some of them seem like pretty, like well-researched articles and
Right.
well-written, but all of them are law firm sites. They're like, and by the way, give us a call.
Well, it's funny. We'll talk about this later, but with stem cell therapy, I looked into that some more because it's hard to get accurate information on that because the first 5 pages of Google are all about companies that offer that are
really?
trying to get money to do stem cell therapy. You kind of had to wade through that to get to actual facts.
Right. So I have so many questions now.
Well, we'll get to that
Okay, all right.
later on. And then the remaining, what do we say, 70 to 80% is during pregnancy, 5 to 10% during childbirth, injury-wise. Mm-hmm. And then the remaining cases, as we'll see, are after birth up to the age of 2 or 3.
Right.
As in, well, we'll get to the reasons why.
So during pregnancy, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, but typically, you are either the baby comes down with a disease or an injury,
mm-hmm.
or the mother has a disease that affects the baby's development, right?
Yeah, it could be a condition, an infection, a disease. We've talked about toxoplasmosis.
Yeah.
Why you shouldn't change out the cat litter if you're pregnant.
Right.
Toxoplasmosis can lead to your baby being born with cerebral palsy.
Yep. And rubella used to be a big problem and a huge cause of cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Until they developed a vaccine for it.
That's right.
What is it? Measles, mumps, rubella?
MMR.
Wasn't there a good band like that called MMR?
Noel, you would know.
I think there was. As a matter of fact, I know there was. I'm
Noel-
just not that familiar
Noel
with
just, his eyes darted at you as if to say, did he just say my name?
He still hasn't acknowledged us.
That's all right.
Okay.
What else? Epilepsy, diabetes and epilepsy. If your mother has that, they have a higher risk of having a baby with CP.
Right. And all of these things have a couple different effects. Like, or there's different effects that these diseases or injuries can have on the baby's development.
Right.
For starters, when you are building your tiny little brain in the womb, it starts out as you start out as just a single cell, right? That starts dividing.
Yeah.
A fertilized cell that starts going haywire, but not haywire. Haywire in a very structured manner.
Right.
Okay. Well, eventually it gets to the neural tube, and the neural tube is this little roly-poly cluster of cells that on one end develops into the brain and on the other end develops into the spinal cord. And then as it's developing, the cells divide more and more, and they actually become specialized, and they migrate to these different areas of the brain and make up different parts of the brain, different regions of the brain, right?
Yeah.
If at any point any of that gets messed up, or there's like a problem with the migration, or some of the cells don't develop correctly, there seems to be a pattern that they can follow where parts of the brain that direct movement in the muscles, they tend to cluster in a way that gets affected. More than other ways, and that's
they don't know
cerebral
why.
palsy. No, they don't, which is a pretty big mystery. You'd think it'd be like just a random roll of the dice,
right?
What was affected by these different conditions and diseases and injuries, but it does seem to kind of fall on the spectrum toward the conditions that make up cerebral palsy.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It is. It's odd, and again, they have no idea why. Hopefully, they will one day.
Well, I wonder if it, there would just be a different condition if it was in a different area of the brain, though, I mean, does that make any sense? Yeah,
no, it does. But and then maybe there are conditions out there that we just aren't aware of, but everybody else knows about. That it is like, if your neurons don't migrate in this way, you have this condition. If they don't migrate in this way, you have cerebral palsy.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
So there are some pregnancy-specific conditions that can cause CP. One's called preeclampsia, and that's when it's a disorder that causes high blood pressure in the mother that's going to affect the blood flow to the umbilical cord. And again, all goes back to the same problem, which is the baby or developing fetus not getting enough blood and oxygen.
Yeah, or the neurons didn't migrate to the right way. There was either a problem with development or the developed cells were starved of oxygen.
Right.
And then apparently when that happens, they form holes in the brain.
Yeah.
Holes fill with water and then get covered over and they become cysts.
Yeah.
That's a lesion.
Man.
Yeah.
So sad. We talked about RH factor incompatibility in our blood podcast, which is one of our good ones.
Yeah.
The blood one?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that one.
But if that happens when the mother's blood type is not compatible with the baby's, that can result in jaundice. Jaundice can lead, if it's severe enough, and they don't get the good treatment, it can lead to a certain kind of brain damage that will cause CP. It's called kernicterus. I'm going to go with a silent C on that one.
Oh, really? I'm going to make it a hard C. Kernicterus.
All right. I know we sometimes look these things up. I don't want to. No, I'm just saying. I've tried to get better about looking up pronunciations, and we've had offers from people in the medical field.
Yeah,
like give me an email, I'll let you know.
Right.
But it's become part of our show. No disrespect intended.
Kernicterus.
And we already talked about birth injury, which is one of the in the 5% range.
Yeah, 5 to 10%, right?
Yeah, what did I say? 5%? 5 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, you were in there part way.
About 50% of all kids born with cerebral palsy were born prematurely.
Right. There's that premature birth being a risk factor for cerebral palsy.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the other way around.
Right, but the article on the site makes it seem like it is the other way around, the way the sentence is structured.
Yeah, I agree.
It's odd.
But you can, like we mentioned, and I mean, it's all very sad, but you can have a great birth, completely healthy baby, and then you can get cerebral palsy due to an injury at the age of like 2.
Right.
Or if you almost drown, or if you choke on something, if that oxygen is interrupted,
right.
You can acquire. I guess it's acquire.
Yeah, that would be acquire.
CP, as late as 3 years old.
Yeah, and the reason why you can't acquire cerebral palsy at age 20 or something like that is because your brain's developed by then.
Yeah.
I think your brain's fully developed by 3 to 5 years after you're born.
Yeah.
So you would just have, I guess, a certain level of brain damage. It wouldn't qualify as cerebral palsy. And the reason why it wouldn't qualify as cerebral palsy is because cerebral palsy describes the symptoms, basically, of a specific type of brain damage that occurs during the brain's development. And again, it affects the muscles and their movement and control of it.
Yeah, the other couple of ways that you can get it through injury after birth are meningitis, and then the saddest thing on earth, shaken baby syndrome.
Which we need to do a whole episode on that. That is a very controversial thing.
Controversial how?
There's a lot of people out there who say it's not a real thing. That
really?
People are being put in prison for something based on junk science.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's some group of people made a documentary about it, and they offered to send us a link to it to watch it privately.
What? I mean, obviously they're not saying shaking your baby is fine. They're just saying it doesn't lead to brain damage.
No, I think they're saying like there isn't such a thing as a shaken baby syndrome. I don't know what the documentarians are saying because I haven't seen the documentary, but I have read other articles about it. Man, I wish I could remember the name of it. I'll tweet it or something like that. But there's this really great long form article about this couple, I think in Dallas, whose baby like injured himself, and the dad. Just the EMTs came in and thought that the scene looked kind of weird and didn't like the way the dad was acting. And all of a sudden the guy's in prison now for years because he was convicted of shaken baby syndrome.
Well, that's different.
Right.
I thought you were saying that people contend that shaking your baby like that can't lead to these kinds of injuries and brain damage.
I think some people do.
See, that's just...
I think some people are saying like
weird.
Shaken baby syndrome is not an actual thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying we need to do a whole episode.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. My gut reaction is it's child abuse affecting the baby's head.
Sure,
so how can it not have an impact if it's severe enough?
I think,
like
okay,
if you're giving a baby a concussion.
Right. Yes, you could shake your baby until your baby has a concussion or has some sort of brain damage or injury, right?
Yeah.
I think what the critics of shaken baby syndrome are saying is that the current scientific understanding, where if you see this, and this in a baby, especially a child who's just died, under mysterious circumstances, it was the parent who shook it to death.
Okay.
And so send the parent to jail.
Yeah.
And they're saying, no, that's junk science. You can't send people to jail based on this criteria that we're currently using and sending people to jail with.
Gotcha.
Not, shake a baby as hard as you can. You'll never give it a concussion or kill it.
Right.
Like, that's not what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
No, they're saying, like, scientific understanding.
They're saying people are being wrongly convicted when there was no abuse going on.
Right. So there's a witch hunt and it's based on junk science.
Gotcha. Man, we got to do one now.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely just teased it enough, didn't we?
So here's we have this little sidebar in the article that I had to look into a little more about magnesium sulfate. In the New England Journal of Medicine in 2008, they published an article about a study about if you have a high risk of preterm delivery, and you know this, and you're given magnesium sulfate, the mother is, it cut the rate of CP in half by 50%. And I looked up in studies, basically what I came down to is this, and this was from that same Canadian website. It said that if you do know, there are two treatments to minimize it in newborns. And one is magnesium sulfate if you know ahead of time that you're at risk.
Man,
and you get on it.
It's amazing.
And then therapeutic hypothermia, which we've talked about before.
Yeah, that stuff's magic.
Minimize the damage due to lack of oxygen or blood supply, which...
Well, that one makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like they will freeze you or bring you pretty close to freezing to keep you from suffering brain damage because it lowers your metabolism. So you need less oxygen. And if you're oxygen deprived and they lower your metabolism.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. That was a great episode too.
That was.
Therapeutic hypothermia.
So the magnesium sulfate does check out.
That's really astounding.
Yeah. But again, it has to be given with well in advance.
So is it like a course of treatments, or is it like, here, take the shot of magnesium sulfate and you'll be fine for the rest of the pregnancy?
I'm not sure. My inclination from reading it was that it was a course of treatments, like you're on it during the pregnancy.
Gotcha.
But I might be wrong, but I think that's the deal.
Huh. You want to take a break?
Yeah, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the muscles. Hey everybody, we want to talk to you about The Big Bang Theory. That's a show that became one of the most defining sitcom of its era and really built a fan base around its memorable characters and unique group dynamic.
That's right, which is why we think you'll enjoy the official Big Bang Theory podcast. It's back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Host Jessica Radloff sits down with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, who plays Raj, Mayim Bialik, who plays Amy, and Kevin Sussman, who plays Stuart.
That's right. You're going to learn all about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines.
Yeah, there's cast reflections years after the series aired and expanded content around famous episodes and storylines. It is exactly what you're looking for if you're a fan of the Big Bang Theory. The season is on video, so watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max, or listen wherever you get your podcasts, and stream episodes of the Big Bang Theory on HBO Max. We've all had the experience of calling a business and just wanting to talk to a real person. Not an automated voice pretending to be human, an actual person who can listen and understand and offer help.
That's exactly what you can do with Ruby. Ruby is the virtual receptionist company that takes care of your callers when you're unavailable in the middle of something or simply don't want to pick up.
That's right. They can answer, screen, transfer calls. They can take messages, collect payments, book appointments, and more, all while making the people you serve feel special.
And best of all, it can help you be more productive. For example, 9 out of 10 lawyers who use Ruby log more billable hours per day than the national average.
And other professionals like plumbers and technicians win more customers while being able to stay focused on the job. But whatever kind of small business you run, Ruby is built to save you time, earn you more customers or clients, and make meaningful connections with the people you serve.
It's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and 100% based in the U.S. See why more than 15,000 small businesses use Ruby. Visit Ruby.com, or better yet, call them at 844-900-RUBY.
All right, Chuck. So we talked
muscles.
Let's talk muscles. So we talked about all the ways you can get cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Or acquire it or develop it. I guess get works, right?
Sure.
But the actual way that cerebral palsy is categorized is by the types of symptoms you have. And they're generally carved into 3 types of cerebral palsy. There's spastic, there is ataxic, right?
Yeah.
And then the third type is athenoid dyskinetic. And spastic is by far the largest group of cerebral palsy.
Should we talk about Spasticity.
Nice.
The tooth is coming.
Are you psyched?
I am psyched. Ready for my S's to be a little more contained.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Spasticity is the word. And you sent over this little addendum. I think it really kind of helps understand how it all works. Spasticity is basically the tension in your muscle.
Right.
And you always have this going on. Otherwise we would just be laying down on the floor at all times.
Right.
Like you might not feel like your muscles are tensed or doing anything, but your muscles are tensed if you're sitting upright.
Right.
And you're walking around or you're doing anything.
Yeah, there's like a real conversation going on between your spinal cord and the muscles themselves, the nerve fibers in the muscles themselves saying, hey, we're getting a little too contracted here. Why don't you send us a little hit of relaxation? And so your muscles are just constantly alternating to keep you sitting upright, to let you talk, to just anything you use your muscles for. There's this interplay between tension and relaxation of the muscles. And all that's called tone.
Yeah, and the really interesting thing is that when the actual message for increasing that tone comes from the muscle.
Yeah, I was fascinated by that too.
The message to decrease it comes from the brain.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yeah, because the muscle's saying, hey, tell me to tighten.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, just do it yourself, pal.
Is there no brain involved there at all?
I'm always having to hold your hand here.
It said it goes directly from the muscle to the spinal cord.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I would think the brain would be involved.
I think the brain gives the spinal cord a lot of leeway and stuff like that.
Like you got this?
Right, you got this. You know what you're doing.
But
fly, little bird.
Like I said though, the brain is what tells the muscle to relax. And when you have the damage in cerebral palsy, when you have the damage to the brain, it's not sending the right message, then you have an not overworked, but the muscle is doing the message sending only.
Yeah, because the muscles, neurons or sensory fibers are fine. So they're getting their message across loud and clear. But the other message that's part of that interplay, that conversation to relax is not coming through. So in spastic cerebral palsy, you have muscles that are basically constantly rigid. And it may or may not be accompanied with, by tremors, right?
Yeah.
And the outcome, the result of a constantly tensed muscle, is ultimately a deformity. Like the limb might shrink. The bone itself can become twisted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can happen from just flex your forearm for 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Like imagine that all the time. Like unrelentingly. That's what spastic cerebral palsy is. So it's not like a child who is born with spastic cerebral palsy comes out with limbs that are malformed or deformed.
Right.
That actually is the result of years, even just a few years of that constantly contracted muscle.
Well, yeah, but we should point out though, it's not a degenerative disease. It doesn't get worse over time.
No, it doesn't. But because it happens as your body's developing.
Yeah.
If your muscles develop like that, that will get worse until it develops into, I think, a certain equilibrium.
Oh, okay. About 70 to 80% of people get the spastic kind, and there are three subgroups within that. One is quadriplegia, and that's when all four limbs are affected. You might have seizures and tremors. You might not be able to talk. You might not be able to walk.
Right.
Might be wheelchair bound, and that's the most severe.
Yeah, because again, like I'm using a bunch of different muscles right now to talk and swallow, eat, bring food to my mouth, do anything. Yeah. Anything you need to use your muscles for. If you are a quadriplegic cerebral palsy sufferer, it's all up for grabs.
Yeah.
You might be able to do very little.
That's true. Hemiplegia, which is one side of the body, and as we've talked about with the brain, it usually affects the opposite side from where the injury is. You might have to have braces on your legs. Your limbs might grow at different rates, but you probably can walk. And then the final subgroup of the spastic kind is diplegia, and that's the lower part of the body only. You might be a toe walker, if you've ever heard of that. That doesn't necessarily mean if you're a toe walker that you have CP, because there are other causes of toe walking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Yeah, I had a friend, actually, whose daughter was a toe walker. And
I don't know that I've ever seen that. Like, in researching this, I was trying to bring it to mind. I don't think I've ever seen anybody toe walk.
Yeah, she...
Is it exactly what it sounds like?
Yeah, walking on your tippy toes. But it's no good for balance. Like,
sure.
It's not just like, oh, that's
That's charming.
Yeah, I mean, it actually affects their balance, like, big time.
I can imagine, too.
Yeah. And like they're, she's constantly in motion, basically. Like she can never just stand still. Cause, get on your tippy toes is what it would be like. And, she eventually had a surgery. Hers wasn't CP, and she had, I guess, something elongated, to allow her a tendon or something. I'm not exactly sure. But then, it fixed it, and she could like stand still for the first time in her life.
So like her tendon was too short, which brought her up on her tippy toes?
I think so. I don't remember
makes a lot of
exactly,
sense,
but
actually.
I think that's the way he described it. But scissoring too is another thing. If your legs cross,
that I have seen.
Yeah, like when you pick a baby up and they cross their legs immediately, that could be an early sign.
Yeah.
Number 2, dyskinetic athetoid.
I believe so.
And those aren't. You can call it either one, I think, right?
This is a banner moment. We just agreed on a pronunciation.
A pronunciation?
Everybody do a shot.
This can result in involuntary movements that are usually slower, usually in the arms, and they're repetitive, so it looks like a tick almost.
Right. But they...
T-I-C.
Right.
Not T-I-C-K.
Let me suck your blood. The big difference with this one, though, is that your tone is usually decreased. You're not contract.
Well, it can be either. They can be rigid or they describe it in here as loose and floppy.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, Chuck. Is that loose and floppy and then rigid in the same patient? Like it's alternating from one to the other? Or somebody could have loose and floppy tone or rigid tone, and they could both still have athetoid dyskinetic CP.
Is a good question. I don't know. I mean, if you read the literal sentence, sometimes their muscles are stiff and rigid, other times they're loose and floppy.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like one person can have these. It can come and go, maybe.
Right. Who knows? Well,
yeah.
I guess we'll never know.
No, someone will let us know.
You'd think we would know.
You may actually have difficulty walking, talking, eating. Basic motor skills might be affected if you have this kind. And then finally, ataxic CP is the least common, 5 to 10%. And this is like when you have trouble with your fine motor skills, like you might not be able to write well, or you might have trouble walking. You can walk, but you might have trouble with your balance. And this one has another interesting side effect called an intention tremor, and that's when it's very specific to, like you have an intention, like I want to go pick up that cup of coffee. Like your hand might be fine and not have a tremor, but when you go to do something with it specifically, it will start a tremor.
Right, which has to be really frustrating.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But it makes sense if ataxic affects the fine motor skills.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes increasingly more fast twitch muscles to when you finally do go to grasp and pick something up than it does to just move your arm toward it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can have a mix of these as well.
Yeah,
and it's called mixed CP.
And these are not. This isn't like spastic is the worst and athetoid is the second worst, and then ataxic is the lightest. You can have mild or severe versions
Sure.
in each of these. It just describes what the symptoms are, what areas are affected, and how they're affected.
Yeah, and I get the feeling it all comes down to the severity of that initial brain injury.
It does. I read somewhere that cerebral palsy, there's no two cerebral palsy cases alike.
Yeah.
Because the region of the brain that's affected is a factor, when it's affected in the development of the brain.
Sure.
And then how the, whether it was, say, from a disease that the mother had or an injury that occurred a couple of years after birth. So every person with cerebral palsy, is a special little snowflake.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of diagnosis, when you're a baby, doctors will look at things like weak muscles or very tight muscles. Mm-hmm. When your baby crawls, if one leg kind of drags behind, that could be an early sign. I talked about the scissoring already and the toe walking, or any kind of really bad posture, difficulty balancing, which can be tricky because, babies don't have great balance to begin with. So,
that's true.
Diagnosing it is, eventually they're going to get you in a brain scan. If they really think that, your symptoms might be leading down that road.
Right. And there's like there's a fine line to walk as a parent between freaking out over nothing or unnecessarily and getting it early, because basically every course of treatment for dealing with cerebral palsy and managing it, because again, it's incurable. Literally the damage is done.
Yeah.
But you can treat and manage the symptoms.
Yeah.
The earlier you catch it, the better the outcome you can possibly have from that treatment.
For sure.
Things like working on muscle development. Massages are really big.
Yeah, yoga is huge.
Yeah, teaching the little kid yoga. And even like if you can diagnose cerebral palsy as an infant, you'll want to start like working out, pumping those legs.
Yep.
Just really working on the muscle development has a big impact on the child's life later on.
Yeah. Some of the things with the other kinds of the athetoid dyskinetic CP, which, like I said, could result in trouble breathing and speaking and eating. Then you're going to be doing a lot of therapy with speech-language pathologists, different modes of communication, occupational therapy, so they can learn how to feed themselves. And again, no two are alike, so it's really going to depend on the severity as to what kind of therapies you're going to need.
Right. And one other thing, too, about catching this early, Chuck, is that the brain, again, is still developing, which means it's highly plastic.
Yeah.
So you can actually find novel ways to do stuff without using, say, your arm or your leg. Like there was a very famous guy named Christy Brown.
Oh, was that
my left foot?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had severe cerebral palsy.
That's right.
And his left foot would follow the commands from his brain, so he did. He created art with his left foot.
Man, what a movie that was.
I never saw it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
He was an Irish poet and artist, I believe.
Yeah, I think just any Daniel Day-Lewis movie is just a must.
Yeah.
He's one of those. He's like the Brando, like you just have to see it.
Sure.
What were you about to say?
What do you think of my left foot? I'm Daniel Day-Lewis.
As Lincoln? He's so good, though. It's just ridiculous.
That was the line that clinched the Oscar that year. What do you think of my left foot?
He's the one that goes so far and deep into the method that, like, I think when he was on, what movie was it where he basically worked as a 19th century carpenter?
I don't know.
He was he in The Crucible?
No, I think that's Gary Oldman.
Well, they might have both been in it.
Or no, he was in The Scarlet Letter.
One of the, oh, no.
It sounds like Daniel Day-Lewis.
He basically jumped in with the set carpenters and was like, I'm going to help build these sets with my old school.
They're like, oh, great. Yeah, that's great, Mr. Day-Lewis. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, now bring in the real one.
Right.
After he builds it.
Everything just falls over as he's walking away. Job well done.
What accent would you like me to try now? Drugs.
Yes.
They use drugs sometimes. Muscle relaxers can help with the spasticity.
Yeah.
Tremors.
Benzodiazepines, like Valium.
Yeah.
I think Xanax is one of those. The problem is you're giving those to a 2 or 3-year-old,
Yeah.
and they're on like Valium all the time.
Yeah.
There's undesirable side effects of it, but they do work.
Botox?
Apparently, Botox is like killing it.
Yeah, and it's FDA approved now as an off-label use.
Mm-hmm. So Botox is it's the botulinum toxin, right?
Yeah.
But it paralyzes muscles. So if you inject Botox into a spastic muscle, it relaxes it, and it lasts apparently for months for treatments. And it might not just be like, oh, okay, everything's all good, but it's going to definitely reduce the effects of the spasticity.
Yeah.
Enough that it's a pretty good treatment. And they apparently are not finding many harmful side effects at all with it.
That's great.
Yeah.
We should do one on Botox.
Okay.
I know that we had a listener write in and say, I started keeping count of how many times you said that, and I'm up to like 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And
if we could remember,
well, I was like, well, what's the list?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, well, I'm not writing them down.
I've just been making notches on my cave wall.
Yeah. And I was like, well, what good are you? We need a list. We can't keep track of this stuff.
I've been writing them down.
He might start writing
Well,
them down.
I keep the list to my own blood. I can't write the titles.
Some children, you might have a pump permanently, well, maybe not permanently, but a pump implanted in your abdomen.
Pretty permanently.
Once you get old enough, to deliver a constant stream of a drug called baclofen. It's an antispasmodic.
Apparently it works really well.
Really?
But you can overdose from it, which is not good.
So what does that mean? Like the pump better work right?
Yeah.
If it's automatic.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a little scary.
Probably shouldn't let it be connectable to Bluetooth or anything hackable too.
I would agree with that. And then surgeries. You talked earlier about your bones becoming twisted. Mm-hmm. They can untwist them surgically.
Yeah. They will, I guess probably cut them in two.
Yeah.
And then just twist them around so that they're aligned in a straight line again.
Crazy.
Yeah. If you think about it, like, the fact that works is astounding.
Yeah.
That's a pretty primitive operation if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
if you really think about the nuts and bolts of it, it's, well, the bone twisted this way, so we're going to cut it in two and then reset it so that it's back to the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it sounds like something a barber would have thought up.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking, a barber surgeon.
Have you heard about the head transplant that's happening?
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude.
Is it Rosie Greer?
No. I'm not even sure what that means.
The thing with two heads? It was Ray Milland and Rosie Greer, I think.
The Man with Two Heads? The Steve Martin movie?
No.
Man with Two Brains.
This was the thing with two heads.
Oh, boy, I never
Ray
heard of that.
Milland and I think it's Rose, and it might not be Rosie Greer. It could be Jim Brown.
Was it a movie?
Oh, dude, you've
With the
not
football
seen
player?
it? Yeah. It was like a Saturday shocker.
No, this is a real surgery. I mean, it's happening very soon if it hasn't already. And I read about it on one of our UK flights. There's a surgeon that is, I think he's Italian, that is, he's found a body donor, which is a body on life support with no chance of coming off life support. Mm-hmm. And he is taking the head off of the man who needs help.
No.
Putting it on this body.
No.
Supposedly. He is roundly being called a quack.
Yeah.
In a lot of circles. But the doctor said, yeah, those same people are calling me a quack are also calling me up and saying, like, how are you doing this? Like, tell me, like, is it possible?
They'll all be licking my boots when this is over.
Maybe. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was reading when I was reading this article.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
They freeze, I think, the body and the head, and there's like an hour that they have to get this thing reattached and the blood flowing and the nerves connected.
And to make it worse, they play the Jeopardy theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Like during that hour.
So this guy, I can't remember what affliction he has, but it's
bodyitis.
Well, no, it's something sort of like this in that he has no, but I think it's degenerative where he has no control over his own body.
Oh, is it ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease?
I don't think it's ALS.
I wonder.
And the guy was volunteering saying, you know, I might very well die, but he's like, somebody's got to go first.
Man, that
and I'm
is
willing to do so.
insane.
Yeah.
The number of like nerves and blood vessels
yeah.
and everything that you would have to connect the spinal column to the brain. Like, how would you even do that?
I don't know, man. I mean, it seemed like
Botox
crazy science when I was reading it, and by all means it might be.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, we're going to do it sooner or later.
Yeah.
It's just insane that it's happening now.
Well,
I thought for sure in the 2020s at the earliest.
Yeah, he called it head transplant, but once I read it, it feels more like a body transplant.
Yeah. I guess
it's, tomato.
Sure.
At that point.
Head transplant sounds awesomer.
That's probably why I picked it.
Yeah.
Where were we? Oh, surgeries. There are also surgeries, if you have severe spasticity, where they actually identify nerve fibers and cut those. It's called, selective dorsal, rhizotomy? Yeah. And,
rhizotomy.
That's a last resort surgery though.
Yeah.
It's not like something they would go to right away.
Yeah. Because I would imagine once you cut a nerve to your muscle, like you can't use that muscle anymore.
Yeah.
But if it's been spastic your whole life, you're probably like, fine,
Yeah.
just cut it. I'm sick of it.
And then the cord blood therapy, which we talked about earlier. What I found was this. Currently, there are no approved stem cell therapies for treating cerebral palsy. So I think they're all in clinical trials. And it's interesting. This Canadian website said if you research this, across the website, you will come across companies that say otherwise and offer fee-based treatments, which is what I found, which is super sad and the worst thing to prey on people that are willing to pay whatever on something that may or may not work.
Right.
So these aren't approved. They are in trials though, and they're seeing, if either your own cord blood, and one of the problems is people are starting to bank their cord blood more now, but it wasn't a very common thing. So people are like, well, I don't have any cord blood. So they think that sibling cord blood could, or sibling stem cells.
What do they call those? Like savior babies or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But it's not quite there, but it could be at some point.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Although it's a tough act to follow, the head transplant.
Well, sure.
You know?
I have a feeling that this guy won't ever, he probably won't do a lot of medicinal practicing if it doesn't go well.
No.
Who knows?
He'll go back to like merging pigs and orangutans.
It's sort of what it sounded like. Your life expectancy is normal if you have CP. But like you indicated, you could have worsening mobility over the years.
Right. And we should also say, I think a lot of people assume that people with cerebral palsy have intellectual disabilities. They very well may. If the brain or if the blood supply or oxygen supply is cut off to your brain,
right,
that can lead to intellectual disabilities.
That's almost comorbid though, right?
Or co-occurring.
Yeah, co-occurring.
Did you see somebody write that in?
No.
They were like, Chuck, don't worry, there's another term for it.
Yeah, like co-occurring. Because it's not necessarily because of the CP, it's because of the brain injury, right?
Right. So it would be co-occurring, right? So some people who have CP also have an intellectual disability. You would be very much mistaken to assume that all people who have CP have an intellectual disability. And I think you could probably bet that most people who have CP who you talk to, like they have an intellectual disability, would resent that tremendously.
Sure.
Because they are typically of average intelligence or even above average intelligence.
Yeah, I imagine that's a big struggle.
Yeah, especially if you have this condition called dysarthria.
Okay.
Where you can't speak because
right.
you can't control those muscles. So people just assume that since you can't speak, you
right.
have an intellectual disability. Or do you remember Jerry Jewell?
Oh, yeah.
Jerry from Facts of Life?
Sure, the comedian.
Uh-huh. And she was also on Deadwood, too.
Oh, yeah.
She played Jewel, who
That's
I think
right.
was like an innkeeper or tavern lady or something like that.
Boy, that was a good show.
She didn't have intellectual disabilities, but people assumed she did because she
right.
had a certain amount of dysarthria. Same with Josh Blue, another comedian.
Yep.
By the way, Jerry started out doing stand-up in the 70s.
Oh, no, I remember that.
Josh Blue won Last Comic Standing, I think.
Oh, really?
He's a very famous stand-up comedian who has cerebral palsy. What about R.J. Mitty?
Yeah, we both wrote him down.
If you look at the notes.
R.J. Mitty is at the top.
Yep, he's at the top.
If you've seen Breaking Bad and you know and love Flynn, or Walter White Jr.
People loved him or they hated him.
I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was.
Like, I mean, what, you know, he's a handsome kid. He's a good actor. And why not put someone in there? Like, I think people are like, well, why does he have cerebral palsy? Like, why not?
Yeah.
Because people have it. And as soon as we normalize this by just saying, you know, well, sure, put him in that role. Why not?
Exactly.
It had no impact on the show.
No.
It might have, I mean, maybe there was an extra vulnerability that the family felt as protectors.
But I think that humanized them even more,
Sure.
rather than it added certainly an extra amount of depth to their characters.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And he was awesome.
Have you heard of Abby Nicole Curran?
No.
She represented Iowa. She was Miss Iowa for the Miss USA 2008 pageant.
Uh-huh.
I already mentioned Christy Brown, my left foot guy. There's a dude named Jerry Traylor who jogged across the United States on his crutches.
Wow.
Jogged across the U.S. on his crutches.
Crazy.
And then
That's amazing.
Stephen Hopkins had cerebral palsy, and he signed the Declaration of Independence. And he had this awesome quote, "My hand trembles, my heart does not."
Ugh.
Love that guy.
Good stuff.
And then lastly, if you want to just kind of see what it's like to live with cerebral palsy, there are a lot of online journals, Facebook pages of people who are more than happy to tell you about it.
Yeah.
I came across one called CP Daily Living, and it's written by the mom of a 9-year-old girl named Maya who has cerebral palsy, and like it's extremely uplifting and inspiring,
Yeah.
and then heart-wrenching and just neat to just kind of peek in on this girl's life.
She's the new Karen. That's why those books
Yeah.
captured America's attention, because it was really just about the ins and outs of your life.
Yeah, this is exactly what that's like.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's a neat blog for sure. So cerebral palsy, get off our backs, Kyle. Okay.
Yeah, and Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, I believe, is March.
Boom.
So
This is coming out in September.
We're either late or we're early.
We're both.
Yes.
If you want to know more about cerebral palsy, go online. You can also type those words in the search bar at howstuffworks.com. And since I said search bar, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this clearing up a couple of things.
About ice? Is this about ice?
No, but we should go ahead and issue that. There was a gaffe about ice being more dense than water.
The one liquid that's not.
And first of all, we want to thank...
Actually, let me take that back, because that's probably wrong. And we'll get listener mail about that.
First of all, we want to thank the 42,000 people who sent us messages.
42,019.
And counting. What? One just came in. We
Yep.
should have a counter.
Yeah, we should.
Ding, ding. But if you listen to our Icebergs podcast, Josh very eloquently explains the correct thing
Oh, I just forgot, huh?
in depth in the Icebergs podcast. So,
Thanks, man. How did you know that? You remembered it?
well, no, someone said, Josh, you did a great job explaining it correctly in the Icebergs podcast. And yeah, it was just a little goof. But thanks
I'm
for
just
everyone.
like, at this point, a marionette of knowledge. I just lurch from one fact to another
yeah,
and get
it's
them
sort
wrong
of
along the way.
proof that things get jumbled up there after
Oh, yeah.
850-something shows. You know?
I got to go back and listen to Icebergs again. I remember
Make
that
you
one
feel
being
good.
a good one.
Just like when you go to bed tonight, put it on under your pillow,
Right.
just curl up
A single tear rolls down my cheek.
and freezes. All right, hey guys, just want to say your podcast has been an absolute revelation for me. I've avoided podcasts for the last decade somehow, but I started a new job with an hourly commute. We're the commuter's best friend.
Yeah, they'll do it.
And picked up you guys as my first one. Anyway, you're pretty much, you were pretty full of info. I thought I'd pose a question that I came up with in the shower. Is it better to hear good news first or bad news? I could see good news being better first, so bad news would be softened, but the opposite could make sense to help take your mind off the bad news once you've heard the good news. Any thoughts?
Definitely
It's a personal preference.
bad news first.
Yeah, I'm a bad
Get it
news
out of the
first
way.
guy too. Yeah,
Just get it out of the way.
I want to know the bad first.
And then, yeah, there's a treat coming afterward.
Yeah,
You know? You get the sugar with the medicine.
yeah. Like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
All right, I agree. Mostly I wanted to tell you guys how much you've enriched my life by not only making my commute better, but teaching me about topics I had no idea were so fascinating.
Like icebergs.
So you get a lot of emails like this, but from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for what you do.
Nice.
And that is Jacob Beasley. And there's another question.
Oh, okay. Wow, this guy's full of them.
And his P.S., what's the difference between a fact and a factoid? I always thought a factoid is a statement that appears true that isn't. And you guys use it a lot. I'm sure I'm incorrect. Jacob, you're not.
We are.
Factoid, no. Factoid's one of those words, because language evolves as a living thing, that now has officially two meanings. Norman Mailer invented the term factoid.
Oh, he did?
In the 70s. And
like truthiness?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But his original definition was a piece of information becomes accepted as fact, even though it's not true.
That sounds like Norman Mailer all over.
Oh, totally. But since then, it has evolved to, it can mean just a insignificant little fact.
Right, like a nugget.
Yeah, a factoid.
It's evolved into what it sounds like, finally.
Yeah. So, language evolves, people.
It does, man.
Decimate.
Octopi, octopuses, octopods.
Yep.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
And stop being weirdos about it.
Yeah. Petting trees, no fun for anyone.
No, it's not. If you want to hang out with Chuck and I on our social medias, you can catch up with us on Twitter at SYSK Podcast. You can hang out with me at Josh_Clark. You can hang out on Facebook at facebook.com/stuffyoushouldknow or facebook.com/Charles W. Chuck Bryant. You can send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com. And as always, join us at our home on the web, stuffyoushouldknow.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com.
Hey everybody, here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's US-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, SimpliSafe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the SimpliSafe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the SimpliSafe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplisafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplisafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Every parent should know the car ride soundtrack. Are we there yet? How much longer? I'm bored. Well, if you're taking an extensive car ride anywhere and you've downloaded the Lingo Kids app prior to leaving the house, you may experience something strange, right, Chuck?
That's right. You may experience silence from the back seat. Your kid may go an entire car ride without asking once if they were there yet. How about that? And by chance of miracle, they may even ask if you could drive longer.
Yeah, that's the magic in Lingo Kids. Over 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, including their favorite Disney characters. It turns the longest drives into the easiest ones, and honestly, you won't understand why you didn't download it sooner.
That's right. Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids, and it's free to download. Or go plus with the Lingo Kids subscription and unlock even more content your kids won't be able to get enough of. You can save up to 60% on the yearly plan. Just search Lingo Kids in the App Store or Google Play. Lingo Kids, everything kids love.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.